everybody. Sorry I didn't say hi before. Okay, give a warm welcome to Reverend Jackie Gardner.
Thank you for that warm welcome. It's a delight to be here and be with an old friend, several old friends, because I've known Joe for a long time. And I don't know if did anybody look at your website today to figure out what I was going to do? I was just curious. I mean, I know it's really done for those people who might be shopping, but sometimes you want to do it. Because what I did is to create a title that I hope is provocative. And the title is The Healing Pause Meditation. The Healing Pause. I asked if people who were reading this some questions. Have you ever said to yourself or told somebody, well, when I start to meditate, I notice my ceiling needs to be painted? Now, that's not an original for me. I got that from Ellen DeGeneres because she had this wonderful stand-up routine she did a long time ago, and she was talking about trying to get in tune and whatnot. And that was her response. Well, I got quiet, and then I realized my ceilings need to be painted. That's not unusual for any of us. I can't sit still. You have that feeling? Mm-hmm. And if I listen to a meditation, I fall asleep. Okay? These are normal responses for us because we have this brain that is always working, thinking it's working for our behalf all the time, but when we don't give it a direction, it makes its own and operates on our emotions and our memories. And sometimes that's a good thing, but sometimes it's not. But the most important thing is just to know that it's always, always needing to be busy. It is not unusual for us to get distracted so that we are actually noticing the ceiling. It is not unusual for us to have problems sitting still. Well, who said you really had to be still when you meditated? Do you know there's some meditating techniques where people do walking meditations, movement? Okay? If have anybody in here ever done Tai Chi and whatnot? What are you doing? Moving. And what is the next thing that's happening to you? Is you're getting centered and calm, but you're moving. Now about that last one, because I'm going to do a meditation, and I'm going to make sure none of you go to sleep. But sometimes you fall asleep. Sometimes you need to sleep, and the quiet that you experience allows that to take over. Sometimes, though, we are still caught up in being distracted. Now, what are some of the things that distract us? I know you know a few. That beautiful child has needs and interests and wants and exploring, and they want you to play with them. They want you to engage with them. Now, if I told you right now, meditate, you'd look at me and say, nice lady. That's not going to happen. And it shouldn't, because that's your gift from the life of God and the love of God that needs your attention. So, but you have to figure out how to bring that in, because when we allow ourselves to go into a meditative state, don't fuss with her, let her be. Let her be. In case you think I might get distracted, don't worry. I have had 9 children and 17 grandchildren. So don't worry about it. Just let her be. So, the other question that usually comes to us if we're really working on it, how long should my meditation last? And we've all read about people who have had days of total meditation and others that had weeks of meditation, and we're lucky if we can get in 30 seconds. Well, I'm going to say to you that I do not believe there is no set time limit that anyone should do. Because sometimes the briefest of all your meditations is some of the most impactful. Have you not had that experience where you have found yourself in a state of something and then you quickly pull out that, oh, I can meditate right now. I need to meditate right now. And you meditate and things get settled. Okay? That's part of what we learn as we go through meditation. All right, so let's explore why I call it the healing pause. Can you be in meditation and be angry? Well, you can if you're just starting. and can you be in meditation if you are in deep pain? The answer is yes. Can you be in meditation when you feel scattered? That's hard, but that's the point of meditation. See, meditating, we're trying to explore our being, getting to know our brain and train it. It's ready to respond to us. It's ready to do what we're guiding it to do. And guess what? It's a wonderful, wonderful experience when we master it for ourselves. I'm not talking about mastering it according to whatever meditation teacher you had or whatever minister you taught. I'm talking about mastering it for yourself, and you know you've mastered it when you come out and say, wow, that was pretty good. Now, what's the key to really having this meditation continue for you in your life as a tool? Well, who said, well, if you want to get to Carnegie Hall, you gotta what? Practice, practice, practice. And I love the word practice because it suggests that we are always improving something if we devote time to our practice. So how many of you feel good about the practices you have now? Great. Have you ever found that they vary? Like some days they're just explosive inside and you've come out feeling what? The sense of being connected to the presence. And that's the whole thing that we're trying to accomplish. So, thanks to our tech that we have now, we have lots of really good information about what meditation can do for us, mind, body, and spirit. For example, we can now study the brains, really study them as they're working. Put the little electrodes in, and there's somebody who knows how to read the screen and whatnot. In fact, they began with, when these tech came out, they started doing a lot of work with Tibetan monks and looking at what, because you can see the picture, what happens to the brain when they're in meditation and when they're not, and what it's like after they've meditated. There are continued studies going on now, one in Harvard, that a doctor by the name of Sarah Lever was interested in the impact of meditation on individuals. And so she had a group of students, some who were put through training for 8 weeks on how to meditate. And so they learned all kinds of techniques that were useful, and then they shared them. And after 8 weeks, they looked at the brain scans they took of them before the meditating training, and then the ones that occurred after that. And what they saw was that the areas of memory and language had grown, whereas those areas of the brain that respond to stress and anger and those kind of negative responses, they had shrunk. This did not happen for those who had not taken the meditation training. Isn't that remarkable? And the reason the brain can do that is because of a particular characteristic it has, and that is neuroplasticity. That means it can change. Even at 80, it can change. It can grow. All right. During one other study that I found interesting was one in Israel, one of the universities, and the particular professors wanted to look at if meditation would impact a person's self-view. Now, we do know that the one thing that'll drag us all down is our poor self-concept, right? I mean, oh, have been there? Anybody ever had those moments? Like, yeah, where you just can't win for losing because you have a picture of yourself as being incompetent, not worthy, all of these things that might, these thoughts that might crowd in on you. Well, they decided, because they were studying that whole concept of how you get people to be more accepting of themselves, and they gave them 10 weeks of training. One group, and then another group that was their control group, they didn't give any training to that, and they saw absolutely from what the students who participated shared with them, but also in other ways of testing, observing what their behaviors were like, and there was an absolute improvement in their self-acceptance. People who accept themselves, not boastfully, I'm just saying accepting themselves, hey, I'm a pretty good person. They invest in life. And guess what they do? Those are the ones you want to have at your parties, right? Because they come in and they're ready to share and have a good time and talk in ways that make you feel good. And when they talk, you begin to feel good, but then you also begin to what? Share that same kind of enthusiasm for whatever's going on in your life, whatnot. And then there's this wonderful magic thing that happens. We all get along. And we can laugh. And we can share stories. And guess what the next step is? We learn to not only appreciate ourselves, but whom else? Those people that are all around us. People who make others feel positive about themselves are usually always welcome in a setting. But what did it take for them to get there? We'll be talking about some of that. One of the things that is important for us, if we want to have the benefit of this pause, meditation, is that we really take seriously our need to practice. Just like the violinist who wants to go to Carnegie Hall. Any of you play musical instruments? You do. Do you remember the early days when you were learning it? What did you play?
Saxophone.
Okay, yeah. Oh, and the sax is not forgiving if you don't let that read right. but it, you work hard and you hear the sound, and that's not what I want, and you kind of get iffy. But if you have fallen in love with the instrument and the idea of producing music, what do? You practice, and you practice, and you practice. And as you practice, so your skill increases. And as your skill increases, so does your confidence to play. Did you shake on your first recital when you had to perform either with a group or by themselves? Who doesn't? Because we're not sure that we're ready. But because we have the practice, something comes through and it's beautiful music and it warms your heart. So when we're talking about looking at how we meditate, there's some keys to making sure that our practice makes perfect. Oh, there's the clock. I want to make sure I see the clock because we can't keep you too late. One is that we have to create a frequency that works for us, meaning that how often we do it. And what seems to happen when we get into our own frequency of doing it, the frequency even expands because we feel the results. So that's one thing. The other thing starts with a P. Anybody know what that is? Absolutely. It's patience. It's patience to make sure that you continue on, but you also just have to cut yourself some slack. I'm not going to be able to play Mozart with having 2 lessons in music unless I'm putting a record on. That dates me. A CD on. That dates me. Or we've plugged it into the, what is it called? The MP3 player or something? Yes. Okay. But that's not how it happens. But patience is there. And patience is not only for us to learn and grow through it, but patience is a virtue, we've always heard, in how we deal with life and everybody else around us. It is critical. Another one that we have to do is to learn to focus. Now that almost sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? Because you're in meditation, the one thing that'll get you in trouble if you try to seriously focus on something intently. But in meditation, the focus is a soft focus. It is a focus that allows you to not be distracted by whatever is going on around you. Now, I want you just for a second, try to just sense this room. All the noises, the air conditioning, everything. Sense this room. And just soften that, just observe it. Look around. Now you're being really focused if you're saying, I wish they'd stop that sound on that machine. No, we're learning, what we must learn to do is to observe without judgment. Ah, that's that word. Judgment. Without judgment. You're just observing what's going on. I hear this, I hear this. That's why I wanted them to just let the baby be. You know, look where she is now. She's happy. She's content. She was happy then. She was just trying to explain to people, I had something I need to do. And you know what? The more we can give that baby that stretch to just observe and love her, the more she will become very self-assured in herself. Very self-assured. And that's what we want. We don't want a pushover kid. We want a kid that knows, I am, what's her name? I am Angeline, world. Now I'm ready to work. I'm ready to fit in here. I'm ready to be a part of this community. But you got to listen to my terms also. Okay? The goal of all meditation is to train our minds to deal with distractions. And boy, in this life, do we have them? Any of you practicing turning off your TV? Have you never watch it, but have you noticed, and you don't notice because you haven't watched it in a while, but do you notice how you feel when you turn it off? I don't care if it's something wonderful you wanted. Yes, she just did it. You can feel this calm. And we don't pay attention to, nor do we respect the number of distractions that pour in on our lives. Everything from neighbors making a lot of noise, dogs barking. I have one that barks, a woman keeps her dog in her bedroom, and that dog is not quiet, and our bedrooms are adjacent. So I get to practice a lot. Oh, and I kind of try to talk to the dog, hey, it's okay. You're all right, and then I can tune it out and go on to sleep. Now, I'm not one who usually has a hard time going to sleep, but when you have two dogs, sounds like they have them chained somewhere in the bedroom, and I know the person is always there, but between the sounds of the chain and whatnot, it's a bit of a distraction. And so that's when I have to pull out my notion of meditating, just to totally relax. Because what am I getting into when I start thinking about it? I wish they wouldn't have those chains on those dogs. And, you know, if they really cared about those dogs, hear the judgment? It all will come up. And then where am I? In a state of discomfort. And it was my making. So that's when one of those times when I really pull out those techniques for meditation. We also do it if we want to reduce our stress and frustration. If I told you, if you've developed your own practice, if you have not done so, of meditation in some way that meets your needs, it would reduce your stress, would you be willing to do it? I would. It is no charge, other than our investment in the time to do it. When we do this and we practice and we develop our system, these things that are this inability to concentrate and these things that turn out to be distractions start to fade away. They're in the background because you don't even take them in. You observe them, but you don't make a connection with them so that you're in the process of judging or whatnot. So, think of some other things that might be, I think of some other things that also we want to see fade away that really can happen when you develop a practice of meditation. One is the need to always judge. I've never been like that, you know. I'm not speaking from experience. The need to always be in control. Because if you're trying to control in meditation, you've already missed the boat. Meditation is about letting go. Letting go. And it is so freeing. Now do you understand why I call this the pause that heals? If I even reflect on this week, there were times when I really needed to run to a meditation, but I didn't. Because there were just things that were just always sort of nagging at me. But I tend to do my meditations in the morning when I get up and also get one in at night. That to me sort of like clears the deck. But sometimes the stuff just flows in faster than you can consciously deal with. But if you have the tool and you have your practice, you have your release. The other thing we have to learn to do is to deal with what I call triggers. Those are some big distractions. So, when was the last time one of you was really angry? And you knew you were justified, right? Oh. Yeah, you were justified to being angry. And what happened? What did you have to do to get out of that? She's got her hands in the prayer motion, but also meditating. But so often, our old memories that we have often tell us that, well, you know you're right. And you're the one that's right, not the other person. But does that get us anywhere? No. It gets us more anxious, more stressed, and whatnot. So what we're going to talk about today, to experience today, is some opportunities that we might take to move beyond that. And I'll actually set a stage for us before we go to have a meditation that will hopefully do that. I also want to say that we need to also cut ourselves a lot of slack. We've never, by and large, in this culture, been taught this. I mean, a few people have talked about it, and if you were in the 70s and they were talking about it, they said, "Ooh, that's one of those woo-hoo people." But this works. It is a tool. And it costs you nothing but whatever time you choose to invest in it. We've got people spending money, lots of money, on drugs and alcohol and eating stuff that probably isn't really healthy for us, trying to self-soothe. And one of the reasons why I think we're trapped there, and this is a Jackieism here, is that when we hold on to stuff, like anger, rage, or whatnot, we are trying to hold on so that it doesn't happen to us again. But what do we know about what we teach in Unity and other New Thought religions? What you try to hold on to, you're inviting it to come in more intently and more often. Now that, when we say it like that, it sounds a little stupid, doesn't it? Why are we holding on to this? It's almost like holding on to old clothes that you haven't been able to wear in 20 years. All they're doing is filling up space and not freeing you to enjoy your body, to enjoy life, to feel good how you look or anything. Okay? Well, you ready to do a little meditating and practicing? Okay, so I'm going to give you, in this one, 3 different ways to kind of focus. And the first thing I want you to do is make sure you're sitting so that your back is straight. Now you can do this, you can lie down and do this, you could be walking and doing this. The place is not that important, but the position is. And the back is straight because you want all the spine to be aligned, everything, so that the messages that the brain sends out can be easily received and released. So do that. Now I want you just to do the soft eye look around your space. Just observe what's here. Make no judgments. Just observe. And now I want you to take 3 deep breaths, allowing the air to come through your nose and exit and exhale through the mouth. Again, keep your eyes soft for right now. 3 deep breaths. Inhale. Exhale through the mouth. Take that second one and breathe through your mouth on the exhale. And now allow your eyes to just begin to close. And take that last breath where you inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Now, believe it or not, your body knows how to breathe, so don't focus on how you want to do it. Just let the body guide it. If you want to feel how it's moving through you, its own rhythm, place your hand on your stomach or your chest where you feel the movement. You may be ready to smile right now. Do so. And let's move to our third point of focus, and this is one you will create in your mind. It may be a place in nature that you absolutely love. It may be an experience with nature that you absolutely love to remember, like the time a butterfly landed on your hand. It may be a special place that you like to visit or have visited. Mine is Hawaii. The island is Maui. I can't help but smile when I think of it, because it's always been joyous for me to experience that tropical paradise. And I've been blessed to be there 6 times. Get into those feelings that you have in this special place. By the way, your special place may be a room in your house that you like to sit in a special chair, listen to music, or just observe what's going on with your pets, if you have pets. Go to that place in your mind so that you may be filled with the joy you've always experienced in it, if it's actual, and in it when you are using just your mind to contemplate it. Every now and then, see how your body is breathing. Do a little scan and see how your body now feels. Don't be upset if you find yourself thinking of things that aren't related to this. Just gently bring your mind back to this perfect place that you hold in your consciousness and enjoy what you experience there. I want us to move out of this meditative state by doing 3 more breaths that you really concentrate on, allowing that air to come through your nose and out through your mouth on the exhale. Feel the peace that may be touching you now. Feel the joy that may have been stimulated in you in these few moments. Feel the gratitude that you may feel because you've had this moment of peace. Again, if you found yourself wandering off in your mind, don't worry about it. That's what the mind does. Just observe it and ask it to come back onto one of your points of focus. The perfect room or space, your breath. And now again, allow the breath to do its own thing. Let the body knows how to breathe, so let it do it. If you've been warmed and made to feel comfortable, smile. Feel that joy. And now set the intention that as you move through the next day, that you choose to do this in some form again, so that you will have a sense of absolute peace. Again, it's not the length of the time that we do this, but is that we do it. We take time to do it. Now begin to open your eyes. Look around. What do you see and feel? Do you appreciate yourself today, right this moment? I want you to notice what happened with the baby. We set a tone here in ourselves. She's my barometer. We set a tone here in ourselves so that that energy just flows and fills the space. And this baby knows not only that she is loved by her parents, but this too is her space. If you have young children, meditate with them. If you have young grandchildren, meditate with them. They know how to breathe, and they can respond to this. It's beautiful to watch children do this. Thank you so much. And I look forward to hearing reports about how you, if you've not had your regular meditation period, or if you've fallen down a little bit, I'll be anxious to hear. You can tell Sandra, she'll tell me how you're doing now. And so it is. All right. Joe? Now I'm going to ask Joe to come up and help me. Now, there are certain things I'm working on in my meditation, and one is mobility.
Well, thank you so much, Jackie. I was in such a meditated state. I was like, please don't go to sleep. You got to still do some more stuff. Okay. And so now we're going to have a song along that same vein, Relax and Let Go by Karen Drucker.
I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release. let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. All is well, all is well, all is well. And every day I affirm and pray that I'm blessed with everything I have. I release my fear, 'cause it's all so clear. I am held, I am loved, I am safe. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I am well, I am well, I am well. And now I see what my life can be when I trust in the process and have faith. And now I know when I just let go that I have all I'll ever need. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I am well, I am well, I am well. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. All is well, all is well, all is well. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. All is well, all is well. I am well, I am well. All is well, all is well. I am well. Ooh-wee.
Oh, okay. So now let's have our affirmation. I am a beloved child of God, here to be an ambassador of God. Okay. And now we are going to do our blessing with our offerings. And can we say the affirmation? I am a joyful sharer of my, let's start this again. I'm a joyful sharer of my good. I remember that as I give, I receive, and that God is my source.
Because God is present, therefore it is overflowing. For those who've donated, we say thank you so much. For those who wanted to give more, we say thank you so much. Affirm that and you will be able to do it, which means there'll be more and more coming to you. We are so blessed, and we just need to always, always center ourselves in that truth. God is the essence of all, and we are all one. And so it is. You're welcome.
And if anybody wants to mail any offerings, there's our address there. And guess what? Our next annual meeting is going to be March the 12th. Oh my gosh, that is next week. Okay. And if you haven't taken advantage of one of the opportunities, we have a board member spot that's waiting for you. And we want to thank Joe, he stepped up. He's going to take the one. And there's still another one for somebody else. Also, remember that we join with our home church here with Matthew's Crossing Food Banks. And if you want to bring anything, it's all welcome. Just sure it's non-perishables. And now, can we stand and say the prayer of protection? The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well, and we are grateful.